Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 41 of Talkoffamepod podcast. I'm Kylie. Today we have on the lovely singer-songwriter and model Taydee Murray. Thanks so much for coming on, Taydee. I'm so happy to have you on.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So over the last 2 years, we kind of been stuck in isolation. So what's something I did kind of over the last 2 years that you wouldn't have time to really do before?
So over the last 2 years, I've been able to really focus on the creative side of my music, which I've really appreciated. Like I've written a lot of songs, and outside of like my career, I've gotten to spend time with my family and my cat. I love my cat. He's my little child. As much as I'm sad that everything happened, I'm thankful for that time that I got to spend focusing on my music and my family.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest part of quarantine is that you've been stuck at home. You weren't doing anything, and I think everyone felt that what are we supposed to do? Like we're stuck at home. Like what are we supposed to do? We can't see really our family. Like we can't really do anything. We don't want to take the risk. But how do you think songwriting has kind of changed since kind of COVID hit? Like how do you think, in your opinion?
Like it's just given me the extra time. Like when things are busy, it's so hard to have the time to sit and play piano and write, and things are hectic. It gives me a lot of time to like have some self-reflection and just think about things, and it's helped me hone in my craft more.
Oh, for sure. Like if it wasn't for quarantine, I wouldn't have been able to do this type of thing. Like it's like the quarantine, I was like basically it was hard and good for everyone, and both and good and bad for everyone. But like, what was kind of the toughest part for you as like being home, being singing, songwriting, performing, and all those things? Like, what was kind of the hardest part about not performing and everything?
Not performing was definitely hard. I love to share my music with other people. But I am thankful for social media. Like I kind of have a love-hate relationship with social media because in a sense, I feel like it takes away from face-to-face contact with people. But at the same time, it's a great way with it not being able to go out. It's a great way to still have communication with people and get your stuff out there, even if you're not able to go play shows.
Yeah, for sure. Social media, I agree. I do have a love-hate relationship. Like back then, like social media was really not a thing back then. So it's more like a face-to-face conversation. Now people are basically stuck on technology since technology has basically grew since quarantine hit a little bit. But like, what is like what's the biggest thing for you about like having social media and connecting with people? Like what is like the main part for you about connecting with people since now like we're stuck at home and such social media is basically the biggest part for everyone?
So I love being able to still have contact, still talk to people and share my craft. And it also gives you a way to like message people. And I've still been able to connect with, people through my social media, even though I'm not in contact with a ton of other humans. I'm still able to like be around some that I've met through social media, which I'm very thankful for, because I know this is a very lonely time for a lot of people. And I mean, it's been lonely for me as well, but social media has definitely helped me stay connected.
Yeah, for sure. Social media has definitely been a way very kind of helpful for everyone. Like last year, before I even started singing, I started this in like April last year. Before I even started this, like quarantine made me battle my whole life. Like I started with anxiety, depression. It was at my lowest because of quarantine and not seeing everybody, not doing things I used to do every day in my everyday life. And so I was at the lowest point in my life to the point where I was like, okay, I don't think I can't do this anymore. Like I'm done. I want to quit. And so like if it wasn't for basically all the positivity, social media, family, friends, like I wouldn't be here. Like there's some positives, there's some heartbreakers, I would say, but like there's like quarantine has its goods and its bads, but I'm just happy kind of things are clearing up a little bit and I can do things we can usually do on a normal day basis, basically.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. Like, that's definitely been something that I've struggled with throughout my lifetime. And I know, like, it's already really hard being a teenage girl just in general. And I can't even imagine going through that time of life with the quarantine and everything going on. So I'm very sorry that that was something that was really hard on you.
Well, absolutely. Thanks so much. As I kind of mentioned kind of before, you are a singer-songwriter. What kind of made you want to start that?
It's been something like, it wasn't a moment where I was like, oh, I want to do this. It was just when I was 12 years old, I wrote my first song and I didn't share my music with anyone for like a very long time because I was insecure about it. I have dyslexia and ADHD, so I was always in special education classes. So writing was never something I ever thought I would be capable of doing. But then I had been writing songs for a few years. And when I was 14, I asked my parents for a keyboard. And I literally put the keyboard inside my closet. And that's where I would practice and write. That opened up a whole new world of songwriting. And but still, like, the only people that ever heard my songs were my family until I turned 18 and I moved out to California. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to share my music with people.
Oh, that's awesome. Like I was always like a very kind of shy kid as a little kid. Like I was always independent, like reserved a little bit. I was always in my own little kind of space. And so once I came out with the podcast idea, like my cousins are journalists for my local news station down here in Pennsylvania. And so
wow.
they kind of started off for me. I was like, how is a small town girl, a very shy girl, supposed to do a podcast? Like, how is that? That's not normal for me to do. These all people know me as a very kind of shy girl. People that basically grew up with me and stuff. And I was like people, when people think of it, me doing it, they're like, random. That's random. But then I was like, I grew out of it, gained confidence. I was like, if I don't like it, I might as well just do it. Because I always wanted to be in the industry one day, but I just didn't know what exactly I wanted to do in the industry. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I tried this out like in April of last year. And I was like, oh, wow. Well, I'm still doing this. So I'm so a shy little girl in a small town, but nothing has changed. But so like 40 episodes later, I'm still doing this. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, what's seriously better than that? Like a shy girl, small town. Like, how is that even possible? And like, I just think it's crazy. Like, for me, I'm actually a shy girl, independent, anxious, suppressed girl. Start your own podcast. Like, I still think it's crazy, but I still can't believe I'm actually doing this in the first place. You know what I mean?
But it's awesome that you stepped out of your comfort zone to do it, you know? Like, that's very brave of you. And I feel like a lot of girls your age might be too scared. And it's really impressive that not only did you step out of your comfort zone, but you've been so consistent with it.
Yeah, for sure. So throughout your platform, you'd love to bring out like positivity. Why is it kind of important for you to share that throughout your platform and basically throughout the world, basically?
I'm sorry, it delayed a bit. Can you repeat that, please?
Oh yeah, so throughout your platform, you basically love to bring out positivity. Why is it kind of important for you to share that throughout your platform and like throughout the world?
So one reason that I love to share positivity and different things is because I also am somebody who has struggled with depression and anxiety, and I've been through a lot of stuff mental health wise. And there's been a lot of times in my life where I've been very embarrassed by that fact, but it's like any other illness, you know, we've just put so much stigma around it. And so I like to talk about mental health and spin it in a positive way. My music sounds very sad, but the reason is, like, when I sit down, it's like my therapy. So sometimes I think it's good to address how you're feeling and get it out. And then once it's out, you feel better. And then you can start to be positive again. Once you get the bad out, it's kind of like when you drain a wound. When a wound gets infected, you need to get the bad stuff out so that you can heal.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how my music is for me. It's like a way to get all the negativity out, and hopefully other people can listen and be like, yeah, I felt like this too. I'm not alone. Like, I can grow and I can get better. And then when people talk to me, I feel like I'm a pretty positive person because I get the bad stuff out in my music.
Yeah, seriously. That's how I am. Like, I always kind of felt like I was always pretty ashamed of myself for feeling anxiety and depression. I was kind of embarrassed to admit it to people. That I always kept to myself and my family. That I was like, I would never mention that I have anxiety to my friends or people that I'm starting to talk to, because like I just felt embarrassed. I felt like people would make fun of me for who I was. Like, I basically grew up with it since I was a toddler. So I was like, that nothing, and plus I have people in my family I have anxiety and stuff, so kind of battled down on me. And so I was always kind of pretty ashamed to having anxiety, depression. I was kind of embarrassed to kind of admit it to people, and depending on who the person is. But like, it's something that everyone battles with, especially like during quarantine. Everyone battles anxiety or depression in some type of way, in any
Yeah.
form. And so like that's how I am with the podcast guy. Like, usually all my feelings out. Like, I'm open. Like, I never been this open in my entire life in this podcast. I've never been this open. But like this like podcast, like basically like all negative positives out. When people come up to me, like, you're like, Kylie, why are you so positive today? I'm like, oh well, I just let all my feelings out yesterday. So that's the point of it. So I guess it's like the same deal breaker for sure.
Nice. Yeah.
And so you recently came out with a song called The Show. What kind of inspired you to write that song?
So some of my music comes from personal experience. Some songs I write as stories, and they have bits and pieces of my own personal experience. But this song is a song I wrote. I'm sure like you've seen this or maybe even experienced this, like, you know, when you're at that like preteen age and everything is weird and like everyone is awkward, but sometimes you feel more so awkward than other people. And then there's this whole, everybody starts to date and get into these like little relationships.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen this, but some relationships, it's like the guy and the girl have this phone relationship.
Oh,
And then in real life, they're like super awkward and they don't like act like they're together, even though they are together on the phone.
yeah.
That's what the show is about. It's talking about how you put on a show in front of other people because you don't want the relationship to fully be known. And I wrote it because like I could relate to that when I was younger, and then I've seen a bunch of my friends going through that. So I wanted to write something that would hopefully people can resonate with and be like, oh my gosh, I've been through that.
Yeah, for sure. I actually had friends in the same exact way that gone through that, actually. So that basically, I totally relate on that. Like, do you have anyone that you look up to as a singer-songwriter, or just kind of in general?
Yes. So I have a lot of different people that I look up to for different reasons and different things. Like some of my big musical inspirations, I want to say like there are people I look up to musically and people that I want to learn from, because it's very sad what happened to them when it like Amy Winehouse and Kurt Cobain, which is the lead singer of Nirvana. Like musically, I love their music. I love their rawness and their ability to write these song lyrics that really express how they're feeling. But as humans, you know, like it breaks my heart because back then, you know, mental illness was not talked about like it is today.
Yeah.
And we lost both of those artists very tragically. And that's something that like I think that their art is amazing, but also like I want to be able to learn from their journeys. Unfortunately, like I can't even imagine how much great music we would have today if we hadn't lost them so soon.
Yeah, for sure. Back then, like basically early 2000s, 90s have like the best music. even in my eternally opinion, they had like the best music ever in our generation. And mental health was basically no one really talked about as the time grew until maybe like last maybe 3 years that people started talking about it. But like mental health is something that's very important. Definitely people should talk about. Like people think they're not worth it, but they are. I actually felt that way over the last couple of years. I felt unworth it, like unwanted, and that's kind of when I'm saying that's just so when I pretend I'm not there. Like that's kind of how I always felt as a person growing up. And so yeah, as a twin, I'm a twin sister, so I always kind of felt that with my brother being like a little, I'm like under him, like I'm always kind of in the out of spotlight. I will probably word it for it. And so like I just know I never seen people like me. They always kind of left me out things and everything. Like like it's been really tough. My childhood was kind of tough a little bit, but with anxiety and depression, like between those two things, so I battled with. But like Ellen Pompeo is someone that I love and adore the most. Like so, as a, like a podcaster, have you watched Grey's Anatomy? Or
I've seen like a couple of episodes, but I'm not like familiar with the storyline, if that makes sense.
oh, gotcha. Yeah, she plays Meredith Grey in Grey's Anatomy, and so she started her own podcast late last year. And I listened to every episode, and I was like, okay, I want to be Ellen Pompeo right now. Like she's such, I don't really know words for Ellen Pompeo. She's amazing. Like there need to be more people kind of like her. Like she's amazing. That she's a badass person. Like she's someone that I want to be. Like someone I really want. She's very open, very like sassy, very kind of open and wants to get things done. And I was like, once I kind of became a fan of her, I was like, I want to be her one day. I want to be her.
Aww.
Someone I always kind of wanted to be, and she's like open and always tells the truth. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna grow and be like that. Like this, she's one of those people that is like, I'm like, okay, I can go on about. Like she's one of those people. But seriously, like there's like mental health has basically been a toll for everyone. Everyone has been through their battles and stuff,
Yeah.
and everyone has anxiety in some type of way, even though they might not battle it a lot with other people. They might have not the same journey as other people, but everyone battles anxiety and depression basically the same exact way, basically.
Yeah, that's very, very true. It is a natural human response and experience. And I'm just thankful that like people aren't as afraid to talk about it anymore, because you should feel normal if you're going through something, especially with how crazy the world has been lately. I'm just glad that we can talk about it, come together and heal together. We have ways to communicate and ways to talk. So I like that.
Absolutely. So what is some advice for younger generations that would like to become like a singer-songwriter one day?
So advice that I would give is to believe in yourself, even when it gets hard, because that's something that I've definitely struggled with. Like, it's not hard for me to write the songs. I don't mean that in like in a prideful way, or like that part is something that is who I am. Like that's just naturally going to come out of me. I love it. I get joy from that, but that's not the only aspect to being a singer-songwriter. You have to be able to, in some ways, sell yourself, like market yourself. And for me, that is very, very hard and difficult. I'm more of an introvert, and I could be alone all day writing songs with my cat and be like the happiest person in the world. But then you tell me to get on social media and start trying to sell myself and get people to listen to the songs, and I'm like, but I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm the exact way. I'm the same exact way. Yeah, I'm always in my room working on the podcast. I'm currently writing a book right now that I'm working on. So I'm currently working on my book on my free time and stuff. And so I'm currently basically in my room 24 hours a day up until like midnight, currently writing and editing and proofreading. Like that's how I am. Like I love being by myself, watching TV, like listening to music, whatever. I'm like that person that loves being alone. And I don't know why that is, but I just love being alone, quiet, listening to music. Kind of, it's like relaxing for me to get my work done and kind of like ideas. And so I'm like the same exact way. Like, so I'm really am.
I can totally relate. True introverts.
Yeah, for sure. So the final question for the interview is, when you're writing a song, do you usually focus on the music first or the lyrics?
It depends on the song. Sometimes, well, okay, so every song I have to, the first thing is have inspiration. So that is honestly the hardest part, because once you have a piece of the puzzle, it's easy to like build on top of that, but it's coming up with the initial piece, like the ideas. So I get ideas from honestly like all different things, like my own life experience, reality TV experience from my friends when they tell me, you know, things about their life that they've gone through. My sister is a big muse of mine. Like, she tells me a bit of her life story, and I write a lot of songs based on her, like what she's gone through. And but so when it comes to like actually sitting down and writing, it really just depends on the song. Sometimes it's like a melody that comes in my head. Sometimes it's the lyrics. Sometimes I sit at the piano and I just start playing, and then lyrics start to come to my head. But yeah, inspiration is definitely the hardest part, and the part you have to come up with first.
Yeah, for sure. While I'm currently writing the book, like my book I'm currently writing, like the inspiration is like the hardest part for me as well. When I'm currently writing something, I'm like, okay, like I'm not getting inspiration. Then while I'm not working, when I'm trying to take a nap or something, when I'm not focusing on it, I'm like, the ideas and stuff. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, inspiration's coming to me while I'm not even focusing on it. And so I'm like, I just get up and start typing it. Just don't sleep at all. And so like it is, inspiration is like the hardest part for me. Even though like there's a show that really inspired me to write a book, was The Truth About the Harry Cavill Affair. I don't know if you ever heard of it or watched it. It's
No, I haven't.
Dempsey. It's about these two writers. This guy goes to jail, and so like this guy's for like dating like a 15-year-old girl or something. Like, I don't want to give the backstory up a little bit, spoilers, but he's a writer and he wrote a book about this 15-year-old girl he was seeing. There's a little crazy story about basically, but he initially wrote a book about his life and inspirations and all those things. I'm like, okay, I want to write a book right now. This kind of inspired me to grab a book. So when I write the inspiration, I write see that show. If you haven't seen that show, I totally recommend. It's really, really good. It's on Prime Video, I think. So I totally recommend.
What was the name again?
The Truth About the Harry Cavill Affair.
The Truth About the Harry Cavill Affair. Okay, nice. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check that out.
Whenever I need inspiration, I usually go to Watch Ashram and then, okay, this will probably give me ideas for writing and things will pop up in my head. But I just want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It means so much. It was so great to talk to you. You're amazing at what you do. And seriously, you're amazing. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It means so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure getting to talk to you and being interviewed by you. And I'm honestly like, I think it's so cool that you're doing this at such a young age and stepping out of your comfort zone at such a young age. I'm also an introvert, so I know it's not easy, but I'm very impressed by you. And I feel honored to get to come on here and talk to you.
Thank you so much. It means so much. Thank you so much. And we'll definitely speak soon for sure. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.
Of course. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.